Hello everyone, and welcome to another beer review. Now, today we're doing the first of the little mini series. I actually ordered, as I've said previously, I ordered some beer from Sam Smith, the the brewery. You know, the man from the brewery who's also a part-time singer, and we're going to do Sam Smith Nut Brown Ale. There you go, lovely. Um, this is I got the variety pack rather than so the size of the bottles are 355 ml, which isn't the normal size of the bottles. Normal size of the bottles are 550 ml if you're buying them and things like that. But if you're buying just a little kind of taster pack, which I did, I got a selection of their kind of ales, just so we can do them for review. So they come in 355ml bottles, which is fine. I can understand that. I would rather have that so then people can then buy a selection, try them out, see what they like, and then maybe if they like some, then they can buy the bigger bottles as in the kind of normal kind of selection and offerings, that kind of stuff. Well, I was speaking to some friends and says I'm going to be chugging on Sam Smith later on in the week, and they thought it was on the turn for some strange reason. I don't know why. Anyway, let's have a little chug of Samuel Smith's Nutty Brown stuff. So yes, it's 5%, and it's got a little bit of spiel in the back. Let's go. Brewed with well water and fermented in stone Yorkshire squares to create a relatively dry ale with rich nutty colour and a palette of beech nuts, almonds and walnuts. Its full-bodied taste complements food of character, especially spicy foods. Of course it does, because Yorkshire's renowned for spicy food, isn't it? Oh, it goes back through the test of time, isn't it? Oh, aye. Oh, they were always growing chilies and things like that in Yorkshire. Anyway, there you go. Well, it's got a lot of nutritional information on this label. Yeah. The thing that gets me is, though, water is one of the ingredients. Malted barley is another ingredient. Cane sugar. Look at cane sugar is another one. Hops and yeast. You know, worried about the cane sugar bit, but anyway, it's got a little bit of flour there. A prophylactic on the top of it. I would explain that for the younger viewers, but there isn't any. So if you don't know what a prophylactic is, then you're missing it. Just if you wonder what I'm doing, I'm rubbing my thumb around the rim. There's a wee pastime I've got. No, if you bed it in, then you can pull it off easier. How many sexual innuendos are you going to get in this bottle for the start? Right. And there you go. You see it popped off cleanly. You get no raggy bits ripping out of the top. That's why you just put a crease in it. That's what I say, love. Well, I love him. Can't put a crease in it. You know what I mean? Right. Let's get this pot. Look. Put little teensy wee glasses for it, you see. Oh, look at me. Oh. Fancy dad. Oh. There you go. Well, that's me poured the first mouthful. Right, for people in the podcast, I'll tell you what colour it is, but the glass is so bloody small I can't see it. Yeah, it's a nice kind of nutty brown colour, so it is a nice kind of dark kind of amber colour, so it's nice kind of brownish kind of amber colour. Smell wise, not too much of the old aromas there. I'm getting kind of sweetness, kind of syrupy smells, which is coming from the malt. Not really getting any hops, not really getting grain. I'm just getting kind of a syrupy sweetness in the smells. Bordering on slightly molasses, definitely kind of slightly burnt toffee. Just That's what you're getting kind of toffee tone, maybe slightly molasses, kind of golden, not golden, kind of treacle vibes. Yeah, I'm getting kind of slightly treacle vibe. Maybe a bit of licorice there, I'm not sure. Might be, but again, I'm getting more kind of black treacle. Blake. So, yeah, so let's see what it tastes like. There is a bit of treacle there. Or treacle-esque flavours. It might not be, yeah, I'm getting a bit of treacle. Oh, aye, yeah. Getting treacle kind of flavours. Get a little bit of nuttiness. Too much. I mean, the way you described it and the name of it, you think you'd be getting a kind of a bit more. But you're getting a little bit. But the main flavours is kind of slightly treacle-esque. So there is. A little bit of sweetness, but surprisingly enough, not as sweet as what you think it would be after smelling it. You think it's getting quite kind of syrupy, sweet kind of smells, but they're not really kind of translating into a kind of sweet beer. It's not. So that's one good thing. So there's a bit of sweetness there, but not much, and it's not one of the main kind of core flavours. It feels like it's just there to kind of balance a bit, the sweetness. It's not there to provide really any kind of sweetness. So overall, it's like, what's a good way of kind of describing it? If you chew like a kind of a hazelnut or a walnut or that type of stuff, nobody can describe them as sweet, but it's a slightly kind of sweet-esque kind of feel of it without actually really being sweet, and it's like that. And the more you kind of, your mouth becomes acclimatized, some of the nutty flavours actually start to come through a bit more, and you are getting a little bit more kind of nuttiness. What I'm really getting it is more as a kind of back accent in the aftertaste. It's kind of a slight kind of lingering nuttiness. That's what I'm getting. And overall, it's actually quite a nice beer. So I actually quite like that, because I was kind of worried when I was smelling it. I'm thinking, oh God, this isn't going to be too kind of slightly rich and sweet. So just no, and it's not. It's just, and the nuttiness, it just gives you ever so slightly kind of. I mean, you get nuttiness in beer, but you get kind of slightly different kind of layers of nuttiness. I mean, what they're saying it's, what nuts are they saying? Beech nuts. Fuck a beech nut, but anyway. Sounds dodgy, but anyway. Gonna go on the beach to look for them. Almonds and walnuts. Yeah, I can maybe say walnutty. Almonds, maybe. Beech nuts. I mean, it does feel like there's some different levels of nuttiness, but probably the only one I could really describe and identify would probably be slightly kind of walnut-esque. The other ones, excuse me, aren't really identifiable. So they might be there. I know that it feels like there's different kind of layers of the nutty flavours, but the only one I can really identify or get close to identifying is the kind of walnutty side of it, which of course is quite a distinct kind of slightly. But again, there's a slight bitterness to walnuts, and I think obviously the light bitterness that you're getting at the back end is kind of helping just to kind of give you that kind of walnut effect. And excuse me. But yeah, overall, it's actually quite a nice, pleasant beer. So it is. And yeah. Overall, there's some nice complex flavours there, but without that richness, which is quite nice, because sometimes is the case is a lot of times you associate kind of the more complex flavours with more kind of richer, kind of higher alcohol beers that are kind of the opposite of easy drinking. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to say they're a struggle to drink, but there's one of these ones where you kind of sip them and appreciate them rather than, enjoy them as part of a kind of a session. Whereas this one, it's got some nice complex flavours, but they don't kind of take away the kind of slight. I'm not saying it's completely sessionable, but it's a lot more sessionable than a lot of beers of this kind of type with these kind of flavours in them. And yeah, it's still very drinkable. So you could have a few of them, so you could quite easily, but still enjoy some complex flavours to go along with it. And I think that's to its credit. Now, one thing I will say is quite a lot of Samuel Smith's, in fact, more than half of their beer products are organic, which is fine. I can understand that from that point of view, because obviously, depending on what ingredients you have to use to make certain types of beers and certain recipes, then it might be difficult to find all ingredients to be completely organic and grown in organic soil and everything. It's not just as the case as though they're organic and that. It's not just a wordplay. There's certain processes from relating to the soil to the pesticides to anything that they use as part of their process for it to be classed as organic. And then if you mix it with non-organic ingredient, then you can't really call it an organic ale. So over 50% of their products are organic, and I can understand, and they're not basically screaming this from the living rooftops, but they are obviously kind of making an effort, and that's fine. I can understand that. And it's different from the Fuller side, who basically does one beer, call it organic, and then, it's like, what's all that about? And there's a lot of bullshit and marketing kind of piss. Whereas this is the case as though they're actually making a conscious effort to try and do as much as they can. Obviously, there's restrictions because they're limited to what ingredients are available in the UK and obviously which one of them are organic. And they might use some organic ingredients in all their beers, but they can't actually turn around and say they're organic because they might contain non-organic, which of course kind of cancels that kind of thing out. But over 50% of their products are actually made with all organic ingredients, but which is fine. I can understand that. It's supposed to be better for the environment, and I've got no problem with that. I grew up in the country and being a country boy up in Scotland, and yeah, I appreciate the environment, and I enjoyed it. So I did. So spent a lot of time outdoors, running about, causing trouble, setting fire to it. Being quiet and just enjoying nature. Yeah, well, the environment was all right until I turned up. But so I can appreciate that, and it's not just these kind of token gestures or a market thing. So that's fine. I'm always dubious with it. Oh, it's organic. Oh, is it? Yeah. One fucking bottle. Of all them products, one of them is just organic, isn't it? Oh, you'll get there. We're going in gung ho, aren't you? It's that kind of thing. So I appreciate that, and that's a different kind of situation than what Fullers were doing, which they deserve to get their balls booted for that nonsense. So let's break down these flavours. Okay, start off, you get malt and grain, and ever so slight sweetness at the start of the mouth. But you're just getting little kind of malty tones as you first basically get it at the front of the mouth. And before it leaves the front of the mouth to go into the mid tongue, that's when you're just starting to kind of get the little bits of hints of treacle. So yeah, getting little hints of treacle. And that gets carried over into the kind of mid tongue. And just as it comes into the mid-tongue, you're getting some slight little accents and you're thinking, is that nuttiness? Is it? You're not really quite sure until you get to kind of the middle of the mid-tongue, and that's when you start getting a little bit more confirmation. So you do. But you start identifying that there's multiple layers of nuttiness, but at that point you can't really identify any of the actual layers, so you're not really identifying the flavours, but you know it's nuttiness, and you know this kind of slightly kind of multitude of nutty flavours there. But in the middle of the mid-tongue, that's when the kind of molasses stops becoming slightly accent and it starts giving you a little bit more there. And it starts to kind of rise up, but then starts to kind of change to be slightly kind of bitterness near the back end of the mid-tongue as it transitions over to the kind of back of the mouth and the aftertaste. And that's where the nuttiness kind of starts to kind of shine through a bit, and you start getting ever so slightly more kind of walnuttiness. And then after you've swallowed, the walnuttiness is the kind of nuttiness kind of is the last kind of flavour that kind of lingers in the mouth. And that's where I can really identify more of a walnut flavour. Just at that kind of lingering kind of nuttiness at the back end. But yeah, the flavours are quite clean how they finish, but you are getting a slight lingering of the nuttiness in the back. And like I said, overall it's a nice drinkable beer with a nice level of complex flavours. But yeah, very drinkable. I do like that kind of nice kind of bitterness at the back end. Just a nice level of bitterness. And when I say a nice level, I mean a fairly decent level. I'm not going to say it's overly bitter and that type of stuff, but I like bitterness, so it's a nice decent level of bitterness. It's not shying away. It's like, oh, I'll give you a bit of bitterness, and I'm going to give you bitterness. I'm not going to tease you. I'm going to give you a bit of bitterness there, but it's going to work with the beer. It's not going to be standoutish, and that's what it feels like. It just helps that kind of transition from front to back. It just, like, these stages, and it just all kind of, every stage kind of tells its own little kind of story, but all works together. And yeah, what would I give this out of 10? I mean, I could imagine me standing at the bar having a few of these quite easily in a pub, especially if it was on cask. I'd be really quite happy. So would, me sticking my fingers after they've been in the nut bowl. But yes, yeah, it's in general, yeah, I actually quite like this beer. Actually, it's something a wee bit different. It's not your usual flavours. I mean, you get little bits of nuttiness and things like this, kind of little accent flavours, where this seems to be a little bit more than that. And it works, so it does. But they've also got the other kind of major flavours, right, like the kind of treacle flavours and things like that. And yeah, it actually works quite well together. But what would I give this out of 10? There's a question. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. It could probably have got a bit more, but the prices are quite high. If you're buying them, the cheapest 12-pack from Sam Smith is £45 for 12 bottles, which works out roughly about £3.70 a bottle. I mean, let's be totally honest, it's a bit spicy, so it is. You know what I mean? It's a bit spicy for that price, even if it is a 550ml bottle, which of course is supposed to be like kind of a pint bottle. But they also charged me £8.70 for delivery, and I thought that was a hell of a bit steep. I mean, I'll be totally honest, I ordered a brewing machine from America, and that was free delivery. Now, of course, yeah, the people can say, yeah, the price of the deliveries and the price of the product. not to that extent. I mean, if you took that as a percentage, there's no way they're charging that percentage on the price of that product to cover that. You know, so they're taking a little bit of hit in their profit margins. So they are. And probably getting a good deal as well, but basically, because they're looking to obviously do a lot of sales abroad as well. So I'm sure they've probably done a good deal with one of the courier companies. So it was, but yes, I think it was FedEx they were using. But yeah, I just feel that £8.70. I mean, come on, seriously. I mean, I use couriers. We send things around the UK and Europe, and we get stuff from Europe and China and everything else sent over to us, and we're not paying that kind of percentage for delivery. So they're kind of ripping the piss, £8.70, because it's no way they're paying. So they're actually making a profit, and the packaging isn't that wonderful. It was a box in a box. That was it, basically. That was it. So it was 2 boxes. So no, I'm not buying that. That's just over way too much. And then £3.70, and that's the cheapest, because if you get 12 bottles of some of the other stuff, they're 46 and above and things like this, and so it doesn't get below that, it goes up, and that's why I'm only going to give it a 7. It could get maybe closer to an 8, but not at them prices. I mean, let's be totally honest, I don't care how good he can sing, it's not worth that. But yeah, but you still going to do them Sam Smith jokes? Yeah, I am. I can love it. No, but seriously, I just think it's a bit too pricey. And at the end of the day, if I'm buying beer for it to be a treat, then I would probably be disappointed then with this beer, because it's a nice drinkable beer, but I'd want to get wired in. Let's be totally honest, it's only 5%. If I bought 12 bottles, let's be totally honest, not many are going to be left after the first session, if any. So then you're looking at that thinking, geez, I've just spent 45 quid plus the £8.70. And you're sitting there thinking, Jesus God, that's not going well. You know, it's a get expensive swallow at home. So yeah, you've got to kind of look at it from that point of view. Yeah, it's nice beer, but it's not worth that. It really isn't. And that's why I can only give it I can give it a 7 for being a nice beer, but I can still chastise it for being too pricey and ripping people off for delivery, because let's be totally honest, you can't really get Sam Smith so easily in most shops and supermarkets up and down the country. So if you want to get it, you have to buy it from the brewery, and they're not making it easy, are they? And then prices. So yes, it's 7 out of 10. It's 5%. Normally it should be a 550ml bottle. Obviously I'm working with a 355ml bottle because it's one of their taster packs. That cost me £16 for 6 bottles. So £16 for 6 bottles, and I still had to pay the £8.70 delivery cost. Anyway, thanks for watching. Cheers, and bye for now.